Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Eric. Hi, Lois. Are we waiting for Andrea or someone else to join us?
Andrea said he would be late in Slack.
Okay, great. I am almost didn't make it today, but yes, I'm here. So I might need to leave in 30 minutes, but yeah, I wanted to join and see where we are at with the progress. So I've sent a couple of pull requests by linking the documents and making some changes as we defined last time. But I wanted to check with the group, like, what do you folks think that are the next steps? What should we focus on next? At least on the vocabulary meeting.
So there was quite a lot of APs that came out of the last meeting. I haven't had time to look at any of mine because I have a report that is due in 2 days. So I've had my on that. But as soon as that is done, I'm planning to get back into this again. So there's a bunch of GitHub discussions that need to be had, and there's a bunch of other things that need to be looked into. I know Steve and Tracy opened a few discussions that at least when I looked a few days ago, not too many people had commented on that. So that could be one thing as well.
I need to go there and yeah, add some input as well. I also have some deadlines right now and I'm struggling with that. So, but yeah, definitely.
Yep, same for me. I haven't been able to to contribute anything in the discussions yet, but I'll try to find some time later this week, hopefully.
I think some also need some more research. Like I was looking, for example, at the GitOps version control events. This would actually require looking at the API that GitHub has, that GitLab has, so also looking at those individual APIs, because I think when we want to define something, we want to mostly reuse and build more or less a superset of what most of these tools already provide. So I think there are also some additional action items to look at different APIs for some of those.
Yeah, I think that it will be great to add like references to each of the kind of like sections, so we know where to look for doing that research. And if you know some of those sources, please, Alois, please share that with us. On my side, I've been thinking a lot about like the cloud events side of things, right? And I think that if we can start like going into that direction in the sense of, okay, we have recognized that there are some core events that no matter what we do, they will be there. By creating kind of like the cloud events mappings to those, we should be able to start like defining properties and how do we correlate things and how do we aggregate things. So I was thinking about like start like doing some work around it, but I wanted to check with everyone first to make sure that we are kind of like aligned. So we have this like GitHub discussions. We have the cloud event side of things as well. And then we have, as Alois mentioned, like research on each of these different kind of like sections to make sure that we are not, we are just not, that we are overlapping in the right way with the APIs and things that are already out there.
Perhaps a more general question regarding that. I don't know if it's been discussed before, but do we see or I guess we don't see our events as sort of replacing the need for those APIs, but it would perhaps be more that we need to send enough information in the events so that someone else can go to those APIs and get the rest of the information. Is that what we're aiming for, or how do you?
I think it depends. Like for us, from the captain perspective, in an ideal world, we could directly register a webhook, and whenever something happens, we get exactly this information that we agreed on. Because right now we're doing a lot of translation works. There's like a massive layer that's just translating from one proprietary API to a standardized format that all services then inside of Captain can use, and you don't just know where these events are coming from. That's why I think as we progress here, and once we more stable enough, we have to, I think, engage obviously also with these folks whether they're willing to also then implement this.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I don't see kind of like this group, at least, I don't see this group doing exactly that, like creating a standardized version for all the events that GitHub and GitLab are emitting, because that's a large amount of things. I do see maybe creating a subset.
Did anyone lose?
High level.
Oh, he's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's back,
You
yes.
froze, Mauricio. You did. And you froze again. You might have a problem with your internet connection. If you hear us, or you don't.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not back.
Yes, you are
you're back now.
Now I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry about that. I was saying that I'm not entirely sure if the objective of this group is to create like an abstraction, so a replacement or like a standardized version for GitLab and GitHub events, because those are loads of events. So we need to figure out like at what level exactly we can create like some kind of like subset that for some use cases that's good enough. And as you mentioned, like you are doing a translation layer already, right? Like grabbing events from GitHub, from GitLab, and then translating all of those to one internal event that then you can use to connect with other tools. And I think that's fine. I'm not entirely sure if we want to go and do all that work in the sense of like it's a lot of work. Maybe we can do some of that, but even looking
I would
at
just
that,
run
like,
it by them. I think my point was just, I think we all have contacts to them. And once we are at a level which we consider rather stable, I would just engage with them and say, do you think this makes sense what we did? Or are there things that you might want to have slightly different? Not immediately right now, but I agree you won't have like all of the events there, but we agree on actually what we need, because we don't care like about everything necessarily as well. Because not everything is kicking off a process necessarily.
Exactly.
So
I agree as well. Yeah. I mean, we might need several events, but we might not need all properties of all these events. I mean, if there is a common or a standardized way to retrieve more information about the occurrence or whatever that caused the event, then I guess a listener to those events could go there to GitHub or GitLab or whatever and find that needed information, as long as it's immutable and available, of course. So we could at least we should start on focusing on the core properties of each of these events that are needed to actually identify what has happened, and probably some kind of link to more information about the event or about the occurrence. We should start there at least, and then of course you could add, I don't know, optional parameters or whatever that could contain more information for convenience or whatever, so we don't need to dig up everything from all sources. But I think we should start small and expand from there when needed.
I think that makes sense. And I was about to ask, you mentioned like if there is a standardized way to fetch more information. My understanding is that maybe some of that falls under the interoperability SIG, that they might be thinking along those lines to have those kind of standardized API endpoints and stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe there is some overlap both on the interoperability SIG and also the metadata SIG, right?
All right.
Because I think that some of this information that we might be talking about now are more like product related information that is more considered metadata, or I don't know, but I guess we'll see we'll find out when we discuss this further.
Yep, good stuff. So I would say that then like the tasks, kind of like dependent tasks, are going into the GitHub discussions, making sure that we add input to the threads, and then start kind of like looking into the cloud events mapping and the research angle that Alois mentioned, right? Alois, again, if you can share links, I will do that. I will do the same. I will probably send a pull request with the reference section for each of the projects that we know that are out there. I know that we have a lot of references from Eiffel, from Tecton. So adding these references close to the place where we are defining what events are we interested in at this point, I think that it will help a lot.
Yeah, well, I was just busy commenting on the conversations due to KubeCon submissions and luckily some Easter time. So I'm also a bit behind here, but.
No worries, no worries. I think that everyone.
It's breaking up again.
We got something interesting on Slack right now. Someone trying to join us. We should paste the link. We can do that.
Is there any other thing that we should be talking about, like in this group, with this group, and related to the vocabulary?
Just a heads up. I guess we said in the last SIG meeting, we didn't have any yesterday, but the one before, we said that on the next, I think Matthias accepted that he will present the link model of Eiffel in the next meeting. So that could be served as input to this. You mentioned referencing events, right, Mauricio? And how we aggregate them and such. So that could be an input to that discussion at least. So please join that SIG meeting if you're able to in 2 weeks.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, we'll definitely be there.
I think the update, the file update could be merged, right? When we changed from continuous delivery to core events, that one can easily be merged.
Yeah, unfortunately I cannot because I created a pull request, but yeah, I think that we can ping Andrea, Emil, I think that you can also merge it.
Yeah, I should be able to do that. Just a second. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So I think, Emil, what you mentioned before, this like that to start with, the focus for our events will be to send enough information so that the recipient can understand that something has happened and has enough information to fetch more information. I think that's a good way of doing it. Should we record that somewhere, or write that somewhere, just for it might be good for others looking at the spec to have that, or to be able to see that, to understand why the spec looks like it does currently.
Yeah, of course we should record our discussions and decisions, but I guess this might not be a formal decision yet. We should discuss that. Well, how can we make decisions in this group? I mean, should all such things be brought up on the SIG events meeting, or should we make such decisions here, or should we just write down proposals from this meeting and then bring them up on the SIG events meeting, or how do you think we should do it? Or should we send for pull requests and make sure that people review them and so on?
Yeah, I think that topics that are like big enough to bring to the SIG events meeting, I think that we should definitely raise them there. If they are like small topics or small changes, I think that just sending a pull request is fine, where we can all review and maybe discuss if we merge the pull request during the SIG events meeting. But yeah, large topics and discussions and outputs from discussions, I think that we definitely need to touch on the SIG events meeting with the larger group.
So maybe we should start a discussion on how to store or record our decisions.
So what we did on the most when I was working in the W3C, which is obviously a way more formalized process, we had like a well-defined public event comment period. That okay, if we want to take a decision, we just post it somewhere, people can comment, and then we say when every comment has been addressed. And has been addressed doesn't mean that we necessarily say, okay, this is like important enough, or we're doing exactly what you're proposing. But you have to be, at least the core group has to agree that it was properly addressed. Even if you say, well, don't take care of this right now, that would also be properly addressing the comments, or we take care of this later. Then after I think we back then had like 1 week, which might be a bit too short, but then after 2 weeks, you just keep merging things in there. And this was just a well-documented process on how we handled it. And it started to work pretty well. And usually we had like a master of ceremony that in the beginning that also used to be me, or you just send out to people like 2 days before the merging, hey, keep in mind, if you want to add something here, then please do it right now, because otherwise it will get merged. That made things merging pretty straightforward, and everybody knew when they had to look at it. So if you looked at things every 2 weeks, you were still good. Not saying we have to formalize it that much, but that's something that I've seen working well in the past. You just could go through those decisions easily before a meeting and bring things up beforehand if you wanted to.
Yeah, sounds really good.
It might also be something to do honestly at a later stage. I mean, right now we're still like in this draft stage with events, so where nothing is like really set into stone. But if you want to, these are things that you then want to do when you move more for a final version, maybe. I think for the time being, it would even be fine to say, like, if nobody comments on something within or in between 2 meetings, you would assume that it's kind of fine.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. At least we can start very easily now and just put in pull requests and drafts on. It might not be totally coherent and thought through, but let's put something out there so we can start looking at it and trying it out maybe even and then discuss it, of course. And when it's a bit more formal and when we have a draft that we want to go for a beta or whatever, we should make a more formal process on how to update it and how to file changes for it.
Yeah, sounds good.
So that, I mean, let's not be stopped by such a process now, at least.
I was just going to say, we have a new attendee in the meeting. I'm not sure if we should say a little bit about what this meeting is about, or if anyone wants to introduce themselves.
Yeah, hi, I'm Gopinath Gopi. I'm from OpsumX. We work with Spinnaker, one of the core contributors there. So we are interested in events, interoperability, and so that this is a events meeting, and that I will join, see where we are, and see what we can contribute.
Great, good to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you.
So yeah, so we have two. I'm not sure how much background you know already, but we have two different kind of meetings. We have the regular special interest groups meetings that are typically on Mondays, and then we have this as like a smaller work group meeting for trying to get stuff done when it comes to the event specification. And the most of the work that we do is either in PRs or in GitHub discussions in our SIG events repo. So I think a good way to participate there and to follow along and to contribute is to be a part of the reviews and discussions in GitHub. I think that would be the main way of doing it. We were just saying before that unfortunately most of us have been quite busy for the last couple of weeks, but we're aiming to get more or to pick up the pace again in the coming week and so.
Very good. I see. So this is more like a working group meeting. I thought it was a SIG meeting. I wanted to catch up and see what's going on and where you guys are and get up to speed before I can actually contribute something there.
No, so the SIG meetings are, let's see, is it 3 o'clock UT every first
At the same time as this meeting, but Mondays, yeah.
Okay.
So
and I think yesterday's one was canceled because it was holiday mostly in Europe.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay.
So where are you located, Gopi?
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay. So yeah, you're very much welcome, of course, to join the SIG meeting in 2 weeks. But you can stay along here as well if you like to listen to a bit more hands-on maybe discussion on the vocabulary itself.
Sure. Since I'm here, I'll hang on for a little bit and see if we can get where you guys are.
I've just pasted the link of the directory where we have kind of like the vocabulary draft, and that's mostly where we are working on copy.
Okay.
I just pasted it here in the chat. So there are like 4 or 5 like MD files in there where we are just trying to define the events that we're interested in at this point. And the main objective of the vocabulary at this point is just trying to identify what are the most interesting events that we can put into like an initial version of the specification, and then basically engage with other people to see, if they are aligned with this vision or not. And based on that, change, add more events, remove some events, and then start creating some POCs around it to show interoperability and also, visibility and understanding how different tools are working.
Okay. Yeah, there's one other question I had. So the interoperability is mostly about events and definition and how they can interact with each other. Right? So what else does interoperability include? This may not be the right forum. Sorry, we can catch up on those later. I can go through this document and see what the current defined events are. And
I guess
so the goal here
interoperability
is
group
to define
focuses on
events. So each of
sorry.
these tools. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that the interoperability group it was at the start it also covered the events, but then the events group was broken out of that one. So what's left there, I guess, is some more common discussions around interoperability at large. I mean, how could systems interoperate with each other, regardless of if they would use events or some other means. I mean, we base things, we have discussions on metadata and policies and different kinds of aspects of interoperability between CI/CD systems in that interoperability SIG group. Or more, I would say more higher level maybe, or more general level.
Okay. All right, I'll spend some time on the documents that you just shared. And I've been looking through some other documents on the events shared in the calendar. I think this is a lot more clear what you just shared. So I'll go through this and then I'll have something intelligent to say after that, I suppose.
Good.
That's good.
Yes, for this meeting, I think we were just about done. Mauritius has left as well, so.
Too much more progress here and now. I was just thinking, Eric, about your suggestion there on how we should file decisions. We could for sure start up a discussion there on how to do it, where to file those decisions, and we're working around them. If we should involve the SIG in all those decisions or not, and such things could be discussed there, I guess. If we just like to
GitHub
raise the
discussion
decision.
for that, you mean?
Sorry?
You mean a GitHub discussion for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can take an action point to start a discussion on that.
But apart from that, I guess we might not have too much to talk about right now. Or Alois, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, not from my side.
Yeah. So let's try to get some time to work on the pull requests instead and the discussions.
That's good.
So see you in the SIG meeting in 2 weeks then, and maybe in Interop meetings before.
All right, nice meeting you guys. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah,
Same to you.
same. See
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.